Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah. My guest, Wunam Nicky Love, is here, and she's going to share who she is and what she does. And take it away.
Well, thank you for inviting me to your show. I'm excited. I've been excited to come on here and actually, you know, have some conversation with you. I
Yeah,
am Wunam, as she said, Wunam Nikki Love. I'm an African Indigenous traditional healer, and I'm also a seer, not a psychic, but a seer. Okay, and I see many things. I'm also able to see through the depths of your soul. So, and I also do traditional healing, do a lot of healing work, spiritual work, and helping people in many different ways and in spiritual ways. Okay. And I also have other things that I do too, but for the most part, right now, the ancestors want me to focus on the spiritual healing because there's a lot of spiritual transformations going on right now and a lot of spiritual warfare going on. So right now, my focus, my ancestors says, have to be totally on my healing.
that's nice. That's perfect because we need that in the world. I mean, now more than ever, the chaos and all the craziness that's happening, we need it, and people are awakening at alarming rates, and they're going to
Yes,
need support. They're going to
yes,
need help.
yes.
So let's talk about how you got into this on this journey. Give a little background where you came from, so we can see the progression.
On this journey, I am chosen by my maternal side. You have no choice. You come from a line of healing spiritual women, and you have to take on your role, you know, when one of them transitions or passes away. So, through my maternal side, I am now the fifth generation traditional healer of the family. Um, in Africa, you have to carry on the traditions. It's sort of like when you're chosen in Christianity, you have a calling. It's the same thing in Africa. Okay. It's the same thing in Africa. So pretty much, you know, this
So,
journey has chosen me. you know, it's all in my destiny that I had to come back to this earth to do this and make sure I heal and help humanity. So the journey has been a great journey. I love doing what I do. I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. I love helping people.
so did
All
you
those things.
know? Did you
My
know
mother knew.
you had
My
all
mother
those
knew.
generations before you?
Yeah, my mother knew. Because what they
Okay.
do when you're little, there's certain things I would see. The first incident happened when I my grandfather died. I was very close with him, and my grandfather was in the hospital. And at that time, we were too young; we couldn't go into the hospital.
Right.
When he died, my mom, we were traveling, going to the funeral, and I was about 6 years old. And I told my mother, I said, I know how granddaddy died. And she says I said, he told me that he was calling for oxygen and they did not come. My mother said, wait, stop the car. I said, yes, he told me. He was calling for so my mother said, okay, it's time for you to get on your path now, you know. Um, and of course, from that point on, everything else took place. They would pay attention. There was a lot of different things that they discovered that I could do when I was a little girl, you
Mm-hmm.
know, including some supernatural stuff that I had done as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's so interesting.
yeah, yeah.
That is so interesting. So when you did you immediately start doing the things, or did it take time, or did you go through
Well,
something in order to
you
get there?
know,
What was that like?
when you grow up in this place called America, it's going to take time. You don't take it serious like you're supposed to. There's certain things you have to take serious. There was times when like my grandmother, my mother, my aunt, we would have to go down to the sea. Now, Cape Verde Island, Cape Verde, Africa is where my maternal side is from. So the women, were said that they were mermaids, okay? So there was a lot of rituals that had to be done at that sea. So when we were little girls, my cousin and myself, and they would take us down to the sea, there's little things we had to do. We couldn't get away from that. But when you become a teenager now, of course, you're going to be a teenager. You're supposed to do this, but you want to do that, So you kind of, veer off of that energy just a little bit, because I didn't veer much, because I was always able to see. I was always able to read people. I didn't do it as much as I did it. As you get older, you get mature and you take your gears seriously.
Yeah.
So when I got older, after I had my kids, I started really, really taking serious. Spirit said, you got to do this, and that. You can't do what you want to do. You have to do this.
Yes.
So, it was something I did, or we would do behind closed doors, because like Haiti and Cape Verde, they hid behind Catholicism.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know that there was, hiding and doing rituals and working behind Catholicism. So a lot of the stuff you didn't let people know that you did. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you just lived a normal life according to them, but behind closed doors, you're doing rituals, you're doing
New
this,
Orleans too, right?
huh?
New Orleans as well.
I
Like
believe
that?
New Orleans did take a little bit of the Haitian and the French, pantheon as far as voodoo, but that's why they call it hoodoo. So New Orleans is a little bit more watered down than
Okay.
voodoo,
Gotcha.
right? Right. But they did, take some of that French over to New Orleans, and some of the rituals that they did in Haiti, they was doing in New Orleans too. Yeah.
Nice.
Hmm.
That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. So when you as you started going on your path, um, how did you discover which way? Because there's so many different things that, are on that path. How did you discover that what was for you?
Well, I didn't discover it. I knew it was passed down through the lineage.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Okay.
right, like my mother was a seer. My grandmother was a very powerful seer. My grandmother was very powerful. A lot of times in African traditions, when they die, they'll pass on the gift to you. So I wasn't there when my mom died. My brother was there, but I was there when my grandmother died. She was in the house. So whatever gift she had, she passed on to me. So it happens like that in Africa. So they give you the gift, and I already had the gift, but it's just a stronger gift. So whatever I had to take over what she left off. So pretty much, healing, helping people, chanting, touching them to heal them, saying things to heal them. So there's so many different things I had to do. My grandmother would tell you, I know. She would tell you what would happen, and she would say, I know this is going to happen, or I know that happened. And people would say, how do you know? I just know. And then when they find out she was telling the truth, they'd be like, okay, she did know. You see?
Mhm.
So it was little things like that, you know,
Yeah,
that, we would do, or, you know, talk about, not
I
gonna say,
actually do. I
yeah,
understand
yeah,
all of that because I feel the same way about my grandmother, and I know that she gave all that stuff to me. That I
yeah.
was the person to take up her legacy, and I knew this for
See,
years,
see. So
but I
yeah,
ain't want to do it.
some people don't, but this is what people don't understand. And see, this is what happens in Africa. When a child is born, the elders take the child, and they will tell you what ancestor has returned,
Oh,
and they'll know if what ancestor returned, and then they can tell you what that child is going to do in life based off of their destiny. These are the elders that are spiritual, all the healers. So
mm,
what happens is, they already know what your path is going to be. Now, if you do not at least follow some of your destiny, you're going to have problems in life. So there's incidents where if you don't like, there's this young man, he had a daughter. Long story short, his daughter was supposed to be, following the tradition, and she has to take on the traditional road and work in the village. And he wanted her to go to school. She started becoming blind
wow.
because he was warned by the whatever you want to call them, shaman, priestess, or whatever. He was warned that she has to be a healer, so she must carry that on. She can still go to school. I still went to school. I did normal things, but I had to still do what I was,
Positive.
paid here to do.
Yes,
So what happens is you'll have problems if you don't, and you'll
absolutely,
wonder why your life is going this way. Is because you're supposed to be healed. Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Yeah, you are. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You are speaking to me. I know that you're speaking to everybody else. And I'm so grateful that you're here sharing all this because a lot of people don't know.
They don't.
I didn't
They
know a
don't.
lot. I mean, I'm learning as I go, but a
Hmm.
lot of people just don't know, especially if you haven't been exposed to it.
Right,
So
right.
I wanted you on here because I wanted you to share this with
Mm.
people so they can start getting an understanding of it, because I feel like a lot of people are out here and they are put here to help this world, to
Yeah,
help humanity, to help the people, but they don't really know how to do it.
right, right,
Maybe they didn't know their lineage
right.
in that way, and but they feel that connection.
Well, the elders in Africa, okay, so let me tell you, besides the tribe I was born into, I was also chosen by a tribe in Ghana.
Okay.
And I was chosen by the Fafa tribe, and they called me to do the works of the ancestors. So my name Wunam means Wu means overall. Nam means overall. Wu means the daughter of the Wunam, the Wunonam gods. Okay, basically they are the gods of the ancestors. Okay, of the land and the ancestors. So when I was chosen by them, the elders in Africa wanted us to begin to teach Africans in America about their traditions. So for since 2011, we've initiated many people into the traditions, and we pretty much have to continue to pull them in the path of learning their traditional ways. So you're right. A lot of people don't know, but we've been here teaching many people. I think I probably over the since 2011 probably taught a lot, like maybe 500 people about the traditions.
Wow.
Right.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
Now, are those people working in that, or a lot of them working in that?
Well, what I did over the years is basically train them on the basic traditions, and whatever state they're in, they have to help their community. So training them is teaching them how to uh, do what's righteous when it comes to spiritual work. Because there's a lot of people that are doing unrighteous works, whether
Yes.
they be warlocks, whether they be traditional African voodoo, whatever. Some of them do bad with it. So what we're teaching them is the real way, because it all started in Africa. It
Mm-hmm.
all started in Africa, teaching them the proper way to do the traditional healing. You're going to treat your community like a village. So when people come to you in the village, you're going to help them, whether it's to heal them, whether it's to read for them, whether it's to take ritual or bad work off of them, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's to break generational curses, whether it's to spiritually wash them. So, pretty much over the years, that's what we did, train people to do what's righteous in their community.
Okay.
And we have people all over the place.
That's phenomenal. That's
Hmm.
phenomenal because this work, it has to be done.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Got to be done because there's a lot of people, especially here in Atlanta. Everybody wants to fight with each other spiritual wars. I'm like, no, it's not supposed to be. You were given this gift to help people, not to harm people. Because there's a lot of that goes on here in Atlanta because everybody thinks they're powerful.
of course.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Of course, I've seen it, and it's crazy when you think about it. It's like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. No, no. You got to understand. There's many people who have so many gifts. You
yes.
know, and there's some that are just readers. They just read, whether it be clairvoyant or read tarot or whatever. But you have the ones who have multiple. I have multiple gifts. So, all of my gifts are utilized in a righteous way, though, not unrighteous. I don't play the unrighteousness
Yeah.
because, there's nothing more happier than seeing somebody, you know, that's happy because you were able to heal them from a sickness,
Yes.
you know, and help them, that makes me happy to know that I'm doing my job because I might have saved a little girl. Actually, and we really do have a little girl. We got a call today, a 12-year-old little girl that was diagnosed with she had a brain tumor, but this baby, she went from looking like me to like this. They gave her steroids. Now they're saying she only has a few weeks to live. So, her grandmother reached out to me, and it's funny because another thing people need to realize, karma's hitting people quicker than they can blink their eye. Quicker than they blink
Say
their
say that. I actually
eye.
told somebody that. I said karma is not like it used to be in the old days. I said it's not coming on your children, your grandchildren. It's getting your ass.
Yeah, it is. It's quick. This same lady, she didn't like what I do. She said, "Well, you sacrifice chickens, and that's this and that's that." I said, "I only sacrifice chickens when it calls for that." Because, see, with African gods, some of them may require that. I said, "But we don't do that all the time." I said, "But do you eat chicken?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, we do it the you know, the respectful way." I said, "Because after we first of all, we ask permission of that chicken. Once we sacrifice it, the chicken is eaten." I said, "Y'all are eating slaughtered, beat down, emotional stress chickens, and we're not." Right? Um, I had to tell her, but what's funny is she was so gung ho of what I was doing, the spirit made her come back and have to ask me to help her grandbaby. You see that?
Wow.
And poor baby, she's only 12. She has
But
nothing to
why do
do with
people
that.
wait till the last second?
Well, at this one, I don't understand because the baby's in the hospital now. She went to the hospital today. I went by the store where she works at, and I bought her some tea to drink. And if she can put it in a feeding tube, they'll let her. But we have to send back home to Africa to get her work for her. They're saying she only has a week to live. You don't play with stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're so busy judging somebody, you don't even know that you may need that person for help. And when I explained to her, I said, "You thought I was a voodoo priest." I said, "But I'm a African traditional healer." I said, "Voodoo just means spirit." People don't even know what voodoo means. It means
No, they
spirit.
don't. But they scared of it.
Right. You scared of
They don't
what?
even know. Right.
You
You
gotta
ain't
you
what you
gotta be
scared of.
scared of the people.
Right.
Because the
I
people
agree.
are the one who makes it bad.
Mm.
Right? So
Absolutely. It's always people.
yeah, yeah, people. You know, you can choose to do good with voodoo, you could choose to do bad.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Christians. 60% of our clients are Christians.
They're
But
what?
they're Christians.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they're the
Oh,
first one to run up in there.
exactly. So we got a lot of Christians. I heard a lot of Christians. And so, "Oh well, can you do this? Can you do that?" No, we don't do bad stuff. Now we can help you heal, but I'm not taking his.
They're coming to you for bed? Oh
Oh
my.
yeah, that Christian woman come to me and asked me, "Can I do a ritual so she can get the pastor from his wife?" I said, "Are you serious?" "Yeah, well, we messed around, and I'm in love with him." Let me tell you something. We have spiritual cases. I call them spiritual cases. Okay. And I got tons and tons and tons of spiritual cases from stuff like that to even men doing rituals on the women, trying to keep them. I mean, it's kind of funny. I said I wanted to do a TV show about it because we really do have spiritual cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be funny.
I think it would be funny too. Yeah. Yeah. I gotta send you the TV show we did called Spirits of Atlanta. It would have been better if everybody wasn't so egotistical, but it was on WeTV.
Yeah.
And we had a reenactment of one of my clients, and he really had a masturbation problem. So we reenacted it on a TV show, and I had to cleanse him because he had a lot of lust spirits on him. So it was kind of funny because the way they made it on the TV show was like, "Oh, this guy really had, yeah, he really had a masturbation." And he called me and he said, "What do I do about it?" And he was out of Canada, one of my regular clients. Yeah, and it was kind of funny. So, yeah, you're right. Some of it is funny. Some of these people will have you laughing. Some of them will have you crying. I
Yeah.
don't cry, but most of the times when I'm doing readings, I get a lot of people that cry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Yes.
get a lot of people that cry. Yeah, that's
Wait,
my husband.
do you feel like the dark energies that are around, do you feel like there are more of them, or do you feel like, I mean, tell me how you feel about that.
Well, we don't call it dark energy because everything that is dark is always bad, and that's not true.
Okay, okay. All
We
right.
got to understand it's
Break that out.
disagreeable energy.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
there is a lot of disagreeable energy out. You have a lot of people dealing with a lot of disagreeable spirits, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's walking around them and entering them because they're getting walkthroughs, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a lot of disagreement because we are in a spiritual warfare.
Yes.
And because we're in a spiritual warfare, we are dealing with a lot of that energy as well. So, we're having to kind of cleanse people,
Mm-hmm.
do a couple of, we do exorcisms too.
Oh, tell
Oh,
us
yeah.
about that. Because you
The,
know why I said that? Because I was just watching Evil, the movie, the show.
said I want to see that. I haven't watched it yet.
It's good. I mean, Brother Man, of course, is nice to look at, but it's a good show. I mean, it's interesting because they do exorcisms, and he was becoming a Catholic priest through the first couple of seasons, I think.
I think I did see that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we're on about the third season now. It's about four seasons, but it's interesting the way they do it because they do the exorcisms and then they have the demons on the show,
Uh-huh.
showing up in people's dreams and all this kind of stuff. It's interesting.
Well, people got to realize that is real. It is
Hmm.
real.
Yeah.
And weaker souls get walkthroughs. Okay.
Yes.
And right now, because we have people that are weak and vulnerable, they're getting walkthroughs. So then they're getting these demons that are possessing them, these demons that are taking over their body because they're weaker souls.
Hmm.
So, um, I've had a couple over the years. I had one young lady. She was being touched and molested by these demons, and they brought her to me from Delaware. And the demons were being, very, very uh touchy with her and taking over her body. She was meditating. I said, you gotta stop meditating because you're spiritual and they're taking over your soul. So I had to give her protection. We had to do a chicken over her. I had to get the demon. I had to, do some chants over her. Um, but when she pulled up, I had to make her brother pull her out of the car because the demon was talking junk. Oh, you bitch, you did it, you did it. I said, bring her here. Bring her here. So I got her to come to me and she started talking, just like different voices. So there's a certain African medicine that we put in their bodies to make them disappear. So we had to do that medicine.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is so interesting. I'm like listening, and then I'm like, oh, I think I have to ask another question.
That's fine, yeah. It is very interesting, but it makes you angry because they just take over weaker souls and it pisses me off.
Yeah.
It makes me so angry, And of course, the demon was cursing me out. And I was like, okay, but I'm gonna get you out of her. I'm gonna get your ass. Excuse my language, but I'm gonna get your ass out of her
Yeah.
because you taking advantage of her vulnerable soul, you know. So yeah, I've done those. I've done at least 5.
See, I remember that from when I was a child. My grandmother had somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she used to bring the people in the house and work with them.
Yeah.
Like I remember this one, she had that problem, demons and stuff. And so she would bring them in and she would work with them. She would get them on a fast, and start, show them how to pray and all these things. And then she would work with them. And I was a little girl. So I remember, kind of vague, but I remember them coming. I remember she had demons and they
Mm.
would stay in the house with us. She had like I laugh, I think about it now. I said she had her own healing center, like at the house.
Yeah.
And I remember one girl, she came from Boston and she was um anorexic or had those eating disorders.
Uh-huh.
Grandma worked with her too and got her healed and stuff. I actually thought about her the other day. I said, I wonder if she's still alive because I was a little girl
Uh-huh.
and she was young at the time, like in her 20s or 30s. But yeah, grandma, she did that same kind of work. And I was like, wow, and I think about it and I think I forgot about a lot of it and
Mm-hmm.
it started coming back to my remembrance and I started thinking about it and I was like, okay, yeah, I remember that, you know?
Yeah. See, the thing about that though is back then, now you don't want to bring them in your house.
Oh no, no, I would never.
Yeah, because they just doing so. A lot of times we'll do them outside.
Hmm.
Um, we had a we just did somebody not too long ago. we had to put medicines in his body. And we in Africa there's a certain medicines that remove bad spirits out of your body. So we have to
Uh-huh.
do little cuts in their body.
Okay.
So, and actually we had one not too long ago. So, but it's done outside because you have children in the house, they'll try to attach and run to the children and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you have to be careful with that. But it's very interesting. It's very interesting,
See
and
that.
yeah, yeah. I got a
Did you write a book?
yeah, I wrote a book.
Share your book.
It's called The Cosmic Oracle. The Cosmic Oracle, I seen, I heard, and I know. And I talk about many different things in the book. I talk about repetitive numbers, what they mean from a European standpoint of view and an African standpoint of view. I talk about Antarctica and how the pyramids were built. I talk about the lion, the cat people. I talk about dreams. I've had several people have dreams about me, and they were always spiritual. I would get people from, when I was doing my radio and TV. Oh, I had a dream you came and you was dressed in white and you did this and you did that. So I had a lot of people that had dreams about me. So I talked about that in the book as well. But I also talk about the dream meanings in the book, a few dream meanings in the book. Um, the book was inspired because Spirit said you need to write a book. And you need to tell people you need to give messages in the book. I also did predictions in the book for 2024 as well.
Nice. Nice.
Hmm.
And we can buy the book on Amazon.
You sure can. You can get it on Amazon, Amazon.com.
Okay.
Yep,
So
yep.
I'll include the link in the show notes so everybody can get a copy of the book because I know it's going to be fire. I know it's fire. And I actually already was thinking about it. I was like, I need to go ahead and order and stop playing.
Well, it's funny because when I was getting it edited by somebody else, while I was in Spirit said change one chapter, make Antarctica the first chapter you talk about, because I was going to talk about Egypt first. And Spirit said, no, put Antarctica first. And so I followed what Spirit said because they talk to me all the time. And when she was editing the book, she says, oh my goodness, I always wondered about Antarctica. I'm happy you talked about that. And she was reading it and in the book. So I'm happy I listened to Spirit. So the first chapter is about Antarctica, about the actual cosmic beings coming through Antarctica.
Mm. Ooh,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm gonna have to grab that.
Yeah, yeah,
That's already inspiring because that's another thing. I mean, nobody really talks about Antarctica really.
really.
Hmm.
I've done scrying there's a YouTube video of me years ago doing scrying into Antarctica, into the pyramids of in Egypt. All the stuff that I would scry into actually came out on the documentary on YouTube or what was it? PBS. One of them came out talking about it. In the History Channel talked about it, and these are things that I was scrying on already.
Okay, explain scrying.
Scrying, basically looking into what I see within Antarctica. So what I would do is use my focus, my intention, and focus into what I seen in the waters of Antarctica. And when I went into the waters of Antarctica, I took my mind, my first, I call it the first eye, not the third eye, it's the first eye, because you're spiritual first. I would take myself into Antarctica. I kept seeing these beings coming from different planets into Antarctica and coming down through Antarctica and going to different places around the earth. I seen them going to Egypt. I seen them going to like Japan. So I kept seeing these different beings travel and they were coming through Antarctica. I think a few months later, History Channel says they found bacteria from other planets inside of Antarctica. Right? That's the first scrying I did. The second one was into the pyramids, the Giza pyramids. I scried in the back of in the back of the Sphinx. On top of the Sphinx, they showed me 10 sarcophagus, sarcophagus, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know
Right,
what the name
you know,
is
right. And they were gold. They were all gold, and they were high priests. But if you go down the into the butt of the Sphinx, it would take you down under the ground to the three Giza pyramids. And when I went down into the Giza pyramids, crying, looking, being nosy, I went down in there. I seen there was some blue water. and there was different tunnels, but there was some blue water down there. And I said that water was leading them to Atlantis. Atlantis. Okay. Now, I think a year later, they actually everything I seen when I went in there spiritually, looking with my spiritual eye, they actually talked about it. I think on Aliens, of that show Aliens. Yeah,
That's awesome. That is so powerful. Just
yeah,
being able to see that, you know,
yeah, yeah.
and then on top of that, having it validated by science or whatever. I mean, that's just like incredible.
Yeah, well, people, I feel like many people have the same gifts. I think you just have to really hone in on your gifts because, I know there's many people who can see just like that too, but I have spent a lot of time with spirit and ancestors. I
Mhm.
love my ancestors and certain things that I wanted to actually, see, I would always go to my ancestors, just like with medical and intuitive. I told my ancestors, I get a lot of people that call me and they're sick. I was like, help me to see stronger. Now, over the years, I would work in a hospital, and every time I would see something spiritual, I was able to pinpoint it and be right. But I wanted to be stronger. So I went to my ancestors and said, infuse my visions and make them clearer so I can help people when I'm doing their, medical intuitive readings.
That's
Yep.
powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful because you and I are similar in that because that's I used to do that at work too, like especially in the hospital because I used to do
Mm-hmm.
work at the trauma center and all that crap, and
Mm-hmm.
especially there and even in the heart hospital, I would always be able to see inside their body, especially they would come in and say that they thought they were having a heart attack, and I
Yeah.
would be able to see inside, and I would see that it was clear and it was nothing, and I would tell them, I said, "What are you stressed about?
Mm-hmm.
This is not your heart. This is worry and anxiety." Fear
Right.
and shit. I said, so what's going on? And then, then they would tell me their
Mm-hmm.
whole life story and how their kids were, whatever. Because usually it was something like they would be older people. So it would be something with their damn kids. And most of the time it was grown kids that were
Right.
stressing out,
Right.
and
Stressing
they'd
them
be
out.
like, oh, well, my son, I'm like, your son? Well, how old is he? Oh, he's 45. I'm like, are you serious right now?
Exactly.
And he's
Exactly.
what? No, so I remember that, and that was something that at that point I had never even really studied it. I just would see it. And then
Right.
it was like, oh my gosh.
Right. Right. So, but as they say as you get older,
Yeah,
your vision gets even more stronger.
yeah, I agree with that.
But I also talk about the DNA in my book as well.
Ooh,
And I
yeah.
talk about how we use more strands of our DNA. And they're not going to tell you that the people who have gifts such as we actually use more strands of our DNA than 3%. So I get into that in the book as well. You
Ooh,
know,
that's a good book, y'all. If you're watching, you need to grab that book. Just go and jump on Amazon. I'm gonna drop the link in this show notes so you can get it. But I think it's a powerful read, and I'm expecting that it's the first of a few.
yeah, well, I have another one coming out soon.
Mhm.
The second one is called Cape Verde, Africa, The
Mm.
Secrets of the Mer Women.
Mm.
And I'll be sharing the stories, the same stories we got as little girls, about the Mer women, how the women were mer women and they came from the sea. Okay. So I'll be talking about that in the next book. The next book is going to be a little step up from this book because I want to get more deep into the seven wonders of the seas, about the different cities under the seas
Mm.
people don't know about. I talk about how the actual hurricanes that they always look on the news and see that brews up off my island of Cape Verde that are caused by certain beings under the sea because there has to be a cleansing that takes place on Earth. So,
I agree with that completely.
oh yeah, yeah.
And I really like I'm sitting here and listening to you and I'm like, am I a mermaid? Because I love to swim.
You might be.
Dude,
They
I
say
do. I was gonna go
every
today, but I said no. I already swam Sunday, and then last night I decided to go skating for the first time in about 15 years.
I tried that in April and almost busted my behind.
No. I
I
actually
didn't.
all it all was so surprised because it had been so long. But I took
Me.
my time and just
Mhm. No, no, I'm telling you, I thought because I used to skate forwards and backwards up until maybe 10 years ago. I thought I was gonna go with my granddaughter boy. And I got on that floor. I said, oh no. I said, no. I just knew I was gonna be skating and skating backwards, and I forgot how to skate. Oh, it was like, because up until about 10 years ago, I went with my daughters and we were skating. They was like, "Mom, you can skate good." Shoot, I don't know what happened. I must have forgot because I thought I was going. I was holding on to the side. I was like, let me take these skates off. So no, I'm not going nobody skating. I'm
I was
good.
gonna say, I told my husband, I said, I want to go skating because typically we go pretty much everywhere together. I said, I want to
Mhm.
go skating. He said, I watch.
He said he ain't getting on that floor either. Uh-uh.
He said,
I'm
I'll
good.
watch. He said, baby, I already had 2 knee surgeries and I can't go through that again.
Oh. No, I don't blame him. Shoot. I ain't have no knee surgery, but I didn't have no goddamn no steady feet either. I was like, y'all go ahead. I said, I'll sit here and eat and I'll watch y'all. Nanny can't do it today. No. But now what I do, my grandson, we take Taekwondo.
Okay.
Yeah, I take Taekwondo, and I'm like a yellow belt now, so I'm gonna continue. I'm good with Taekwondo because you do your little exercises, and you do your little stuff, but it builds up your endurance, so it's not too strenuous. I don't have to worry about busting my behind. You know what I mean?
See,
So
that's why
that
I
I'm
like
I'm
swimming.
enjoying it. Huh?
That's why I like swimming.
What, the Taekwondo?
No, swimming.
Oh, that's why you like swimming?
No
Yeah.
busing, none of that. It works all your muscles and feels good. And for me,
Hmm.
it helps the pain. Like I don't have that fibromyalgia pain as bad when I
Hmm.
make sure that I'm swimming a couple times a week.
Yeah, get you some lion's mane.
Okay.
Get you some lion's mane. My sister had fibromyalgia. I told you you need to get you some lion mane. Probably do a body fast for maybe about 3 days if you can, and reset your body. Because those are little. Oh, that's my cat. I'm sorry, I can't have my cat. Those are
Okay.
little immune disorders, autoimmune disorders that really can be healed if you really just reset your body.
I agree. I'm with that because
Yeah.
what I did was when I got diagnosed in 2010, I know it
Hmm.
was just stress.
Hmm.
And I know it was because I think at that time I was just newly divorced from my starter husband.
Hmm.
And then I was trying to navigate and figure it out because I got married at 19. I was married for 20 years.
Mm.
My kids were already grown by the time, we actually finally got divorced. And so I was trying to figure out, where was I going from there and, what was I going to do and all this stuff. And I was working, of course, like a mule. And
Hmm.
I think I was still working 2 or 3 jobs then. And
Hmm.
so my body just shut down one weekend. I mean, literally, I was in so much pain. Had to stay in the bed. I had vertigo so bad the room was spinning,
Oh
and
wow.
I basically just got in the bed. I had to crawl to
Mhm,
the bathroom because every time I got vertical,
mhm.
the room was spinning. I mean, it was like I had a hangover and I ain't had nothing to drink.
Oh wow. Wow.
So I spent the weekend like that, and it was crazy because it was my weekend off, and it was the one weekend that I didn't work the other job
Mhm, mhm,
because I would alternate. So like, if I was off from one, when I was younger, because I was probably in that time in my 40s, but when I was younger, I would do, just work 2 and 3 jobs like back to back, like leave one, go to another, work 8 hours at one and 12 at another. I mean, just stupid stuff. And I
mhm.
my body was it was time for it to do a shift.
Yes,
And so
right.
when she diagnosed me with that, because that was the only thing, because everything was good, they don't really know how to diagnose it really anyway. And
Right.
I started diving into it and looking at myself and just studying me. And I
Mhm,
realized that it was stress that was causing it bad for me. So if I
mhm.
kept stress down, I didn't even deal with it. But
Right.
After COVID, it
Mhm.
took a whole
Turn.
nother turn. So
Wow.
what I realized started doing, I make cannabis suppositories and I use them.
Okay.
And so I realized that when I keep cannabis in my system, I don't deal with any of that stuff either. And
Mhm.
the suppository, it's not psychoactive, it just acts on the pain levels. So I started doing that. So I made sure, and then I made me some cannabis tea. So I'll drink a
Okay.
little tea, and so that's one thing that seems to help me to stay, out of like real pain. You know what I mean? Like every now and again there's
Right.
something that hits, but real serious pain like it was last year when I had the long COVID,
Mhm.
that thing was horrible. I thought I was gonna die. That's how bad it was. Like I didn't work for a year. Nothing.
Wow.
Didn't hit a lick of the stick. I mean, I
Wow.
did probably little more than sit on my damn couch or
Mhm.
in bed. I mean, seriously, it was that bad. And so I started working with it, and then that was one of the things that I did. And you
Mhm.
said lion's mane, and how should we take lion's mane? In
Lion,
capsules or what?
I take the powder because
Okay.
I was like you. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2003,
Okay, gotcha.
and I was working in a hospital. I was the same way, working 2 jobs, working in a hospital in the store. And me and my daughters were walking into the parking lot into Walmart, and I collapsed. My legs felt like they were on fire inside.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
Just
was like, So I went to the doctor, and the neurologist says, "You have a mild case of multiple sclerosis." And I said, "I ain't got no damn multiple sclerosis," and walked out his office. Right? I went home. I got me some tea. It was called God's tea. I got me some Candida Clear, Candida Support, and I got black seed oil.
mm-hmm.
I healed myself within a month, and I'm able to walk with heels now. Okay, but
So
I
that's
don't.
awesome.
I'm old now because I ain't trying to get no 3 inch heels, but I can still. But my legs was on fire. Not only that, they were trying to make me take shots, but I wouldn't do it because my spirit told me that I was. Oh my! I gotta plug my computer in. My spirit told me that I was full of candida. So when I went to spirit, I said, "What's wrong with my body? It's not multiple sclerosis." They said I was full of candida, and I was because I was eating a lot of starches at that time, a lot of different foods. So
Yeah.
once I cleansed my body of the candida and the yeast, I was able to walk again.
And I can feel that because the reason I say it is because um I've been feeling called to fast for a while. So what I did was I've been fasting like a day, and I've been doing like fasting all day and then eating at night, stuff like that, and eating different, vegetables and cucumbers have been calling to me. So I've been eating a lot of those. But I've been doing that, and I actually just told my husband, I said, it's time for us to fast. So that was like such a confirmation that you said that. Because I told him, I said, I used to fast, like when my kids were little, I used to fast like every other weekend. But at that time, I thought that that was what I was supposed to do in order to try to save my marriage. I was like, I'm gonna turn my plate down, but yeah, that didn't work out that way. But I know that fasting is one of those things that, really does help our body. And my husband is the same. He's on board with all of that.
Sorry, I just was trying to get the plug real quick because it's about to die.
I was gonna say I got you because I seen the light going down and I was like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I had to get the
Look,
plug.
is that our time?
My granddaughter just came in, so I'm telling him to get the plug and stuff like that. Okay,
All right.
I got it.
So yeah, so
So,
that to me, that type of work, because I
mhm,
know that's the type of work you do with other people,
yeah,
to help them to heal and move
right,
through.
right.
Yeah.
A lot of times, what I'll do is I'll go to spirit first.
Hmm.
We don't do. It's very rare that I do anything without spirit. So we always do readings first. So before we even do anything, like with the little girl, before we helped her, I always read it because you don't know what plan the ancestors has for that person. I had
Right.
a situation like that. A client, and at that time I was doing radio. He called in, and he says, "Do you see my grandchild living?" And me and another brother, the one I told you that lives in Seattle,
Hmm.
that I want to hook you up with, we were both on the line that time. I said, "What do you see, Patar?" So we're texting each other. I said, "Don't tell him." I told him I had because I didn't want to tell him his grandchild was going to die. I just couldn't
Yeah.
do it. Most of the time, I will tell you the truth about a reading that I do, but that one right there with kids, I don't play with. So I said, this is what I want you to do. I said, I want you to go outside the hospital. I want you to pour libations to your ancestors, and I want you to ask your ancestors if it's the will of your ancestors for your grandchild to live. can let you know. But if it's not, be prepared. I couldn't tell him because I seen the baby was gonna die, right? But I didn't have the heart to tell him. So long story short, you know, we always, before we tell anybody anything, like with the little girl that we got today, they call. They're saying she got 2 weeks to live. But we did an African divination on it, which says they're saying 2 to 5 days because they actually did stuff to this little girl. We can help her, but we're gonna have to do a lot of offerings for her. So with saying that, we always do readings first before we tell anybody anything or before we try to heal you. Because sometimes I don't care what you do. You can take all the medicine in the world, you can do all the teas in the world, but if it's your time and your number, then it's time for you to go. And we can't save you.
See,
So,
and that's important.
right, right.
That's important because
Yeah,
there's so many people out there, and and I've seen that so many times. It's like you see somebody, they have stage 4 cancer or something like that, and they survive.
yeah,
And then you see another person, and some of them survive because they don't let them do all that stuff to them.
right.
But and then sometimes, same thing, stage 4, and then they die. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nothing doesn't matter. And you're right. I feel that way too. It's hard for me to tell. I don't even like to tell people bad stuff. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's hard. I'd be like this. I almost have to take a breath. Okay, this is why I got to.
I will though. I'll tell them. I had one lady. She just being difficult. She had kidney problems. I said, look. I said, and I can only tell you what spirit tells me. I said, I'm not trying to scare you, but I got to tell you this. If you don't stop doing this, and this, you're going to die. And some people be like, well, what? Because it's the truth. I'm trying to save you because if I don't tell you, you're going to continue to eat the way you're eating. You're going to continue on dialysis. So you need to follow what spirit said.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're going to die.
I
See,
think sometimes you have to do that to some people
you do. You do.
because they don't,
Sometimes you do.
because I don't believe in sugarcoating.
Right. Exactly. So you're like me.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
believe in
don't
sugar.
play. No, I mean, no. I told a girl that today I was doing readings on TikTok, and I told a girl, I said, you're a healer. I said, that's what's going on with you. I said,
Mm-hmm.
you got all these things. I said, and they're trying to pull this stuff away from you because it's time for you to stop with all that and move in this direction. And she was like, oh my God, how did you know that? I said, I'm looking at your energy.
Right. She was a healer.
Yeah, I was like, I can feel you. I said, and it's almost like you're fighting it. I said, I understand it because I've been there.
Mm-hmm. Other people will fight it because they're afraid of it.
Right. And
Afraid of
that's
it.
the thing. So how do you identify when you talk to people? Like if people come to you and they say, oh, okay, I'm interested in African spirituality. How do you identify that with them?
What I do is I always do divination on them first.
Okay.
Always do divination because, like I said, everybody don't have the same gifts, and then
Right.
you have some that have many gifts. So I like to go to divination and ask spirit, does this person have a destiny? What's in their destiny? Do they have a gift? Can they heal? Can they, and we always do readings first or do divination. Once we do divination, we take it from there. Okay. Now, some people are really supposed to be communing just with their ancestors,
Hmm.
right? I
How do
have
you know
one
that?
guy, yeah, one guy, he actually he could see, he would do tarot readings, he was good, but he wasn't a healer as far as the hands and speaking in certain ways, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it depends, once we do the divination, we find out, everybody on this earth has, first of all, an intuitive mind.
Yes.
Everybody. We do
Yes.
know that some of us are stronger than others. That's where the DNA strands are being used more than the other ones. But for the most part, when it comes to certain gifts, like in my group, when I do class, some people can't read. They can't read for nothing. She'll say, well, I can feel. Okay, well, that's a way of reading too. But they can't read as far as using their first eye. So, I'll get the ones, well, I can't see like you. Don't try to see like me. You have people that are clairvoyant. You have people that are clairsentient. You know what I mean? So everybody has their own little gift in each way. So, but some people can't touch you and heal you. Some people can. You
See,
see,
I feel called to that, but I think I've been afraid of it.
I don't be afraid of that. This is a beautiful gift. Let me tell you something. Not only that, we have African medicines that we put in our hands, right? There's
Hmm.
little cuts. I got to do them tonight, as a matter of fact. There's little cuts that I put in as medicines to make my hands more stronger, so I can make things or help people. Now, I had a client that came here and she was crying. Her leg had to look like an elephant leg. She was swelled up. And I did the castor oil with her. I rubbed her leg. I put a whole bunch of castor oil. I rubbed it, rubbed it, rubbed it. She called me the next day. She said, I don't know what you did to my leg, but my leg is skinny now. You see? So, on top of my natural healing hands, I have the medicine to help too. That's some things we have in Africa that you can put in your hands to make them strong,
That
right?
is
So,
powerful. Oh my God.
yeah, but it's not scary though. I mean, I was so happy because she had been dealing with this for a long time. And she just happened to be over, because I was helping to heal her grandbaby. And I
Oh,
looked at her legs. He was newborn. He almost died. And I was helping to heal him. And I looked at her legs and said, what's wrong with you? So I did a, scan of her body. I said, you gotta take your body. I said, you got blood pressure, you got this, I said, put your feet up here. I'm looking like, I'm a little aggressive. I put your feet up here. And I said, my daughter said, well, give me the castor oil. So I put it on her. I said, give me your leg. So I was massaging her leg. And I'm telling you, it was about this big. The next day she called me, she said she didn't know what I did, but her leg was not that big no more.
that's what I'm talking about.
But you could do it too. You could do it.
I
I'm telling y'all, I'm
I know
hungry.
I
Go.
do it. I do it. I used to do it unconsciously. I didn't even know. Like I said, I'd be in the hospital and the people would be and I would just start putting my hands on them, and I knew this because my grandmother, I've been doing that since I was a little girl. Because my grandma would do these what do you call them? Healing services in these
Services.
little tiny churches in the middle of freaking nowhere all over the South. And so I
Why
would
are you scared though?
I think I was scared because I felt like that is what took her out of here.
Helping people
Yeah, because it's
and
like
taking on their
they would
energy.
pull on her, and I think she was, yeah. And I think she just didn't know. I don't think that she wasn't supposed to do it in that way,
Hmm.
back in that time. But I
Right.
felt like that, and I think it's something that I had to release so that I could do
Right.
it. 'Cause I've been doing it now a little bit here, and I had a couple of clients. I have a shop that I can go use.
Hmm.
I had a couple of them that I did hands on, and I have a table, and I lay them out on the table, and all that. And so, but I was so afraid to do it, and my mom was actually really scared for me because she felt the same way. She's like, "Well, your grandma did that, and and I was like, but she was 83 years old. I mean,
Right.
one like it
What
took
she
her
did
out and when
alone?
she was 50,
Yeah. A lot of
like
times you got to protect yourself from their energy.
yeah,
That's what it is.
and that's
And
the
you got
thing.
to, yeah, you cut, once you do that, like I keep a lot of protection on. Each protection is for something different. Okay. So it blocks different energies. Okay. So if I'm dealing with that type of energy touching someone, whether it be it help healing them or spiritual washing them, we're always protected and guarded from that energy that they're bringing, because sometimes it's negative energy too.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're touching them, you don't want to pick up that energy. So we use different medicines for that, that we wear protection. So we'll talk about something like that, and I can kind of hook you up when
Okay.
we're off. So that way, if
That's
you're
good.
doing it, you're protected. Okay.
Yes.
But if you don't have anything, a lot of times you will take sea salt water,
Mm-hmm.
and whoever you're touching, you put a bowl of the sea salt water by you, because that sea salt water is going to remove any, especially disagreeable spirits. If they got demons on them and you touching them, it's gonna scare them away. But it's also gonna help you from being drained after you're taking on the energy and you're trying to heal them. So
Because
remember
I
the
was
sea
having
salt
that
water.
problem too. Like
Yeah,
I
see.
like after I would do it, like I would do, say I would have two clients, right? Or
Uh-huh.
three was way too much. But I would have two clients.
Mm-hmm.
God,
What
I
happened? Your lights went out.
just pause.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So that's okay.
Hmm.
So there's an energy that actually. they say in Africa, all women have what they call inyama, energy, powerful energy that comes out of their mouth, or ashe, which is very powerful energy. But there's some of us who are the daughters of the mothers who govern the universe. So in Africa, these women are very feared. They're called the Iamio Saranga. Or
Hmm.
like I said, in the other tribe I'm with, it's called Jimwata. My tribe is Siora, right? So basically, you're the child of very powerful witches. So you have to be careful. I can say something and I'll say I want that person to die and they'll die. So you have to hush them out. So there were people in Africa that had this power that were going around using it for bad, like people do. And the elders and the governor in Africa said, you all can't do that no more. They started getting in trouble for doing that. Okay. But it's a very powerful energy we carry. But now, because we are going through a spiritual transformation, we got to be careful. Even regular people who don't are not the daughters of the witches. They have to be very careful because it's the energy now is presenting that so strong. It's happening just like this. You say it is happening. You say, you know what, I feel like I'm gonna break my leg tomorrow. Guess what? Your leg is gonna break tomorrow. Before it would take time for that to manifest. Now I'm watching it. I'm watching people. I'm hearing people talk, and I'm observing people. I was like, shh, be quiet. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing because this energy is not just for the spiritual ones, it's for the regular people too, because you're going through a transformation.
Hmm.
So we're going through a physical spiritual transformation. The DNA is reactivating.
Hmm.
People, regular people, is going to start having these powers. And people think I'm crazy when I'm telling you, but they'll see. They'll see.
Yep. It's,
Yeah,
I mean, to me, it's like global warming. I mean, they told us like all these 30 years ago, and now look at what's going on. But I truly believe that that's all about Mother Earth being angry as hell at all the shit that they're doing.
oh, sure. She's very angry. Mother
Hmm.
Earth is angry because we contaminated her womb. You can't
Yes.
contaminate her womb, and especially because you're a part of it. I said when you walk outside, you walk into yourself. So you must take care of mother as you take care of yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself, you're not taking care of mother. So now she's angry. And in my predictions, I told everybody, watch, she's coming to cleanse. You're going to have a very vicious hurricanes coming this year. I was sitting in the
It
parking
was
lot one
really
day.
bad last year too.
Oh, this year is going to be worse.
Worse than last year was
They're
a
going to be
because it
worse than
started
this.
so early last year.
Right.
Remember?
Well, this is another thing. See, I used to say this years ago. Years ago, I told everybody back in 20, I would say 12, I said, you will not know winter from summer. I said, the weather will be chaotic. I said, you will have hurricanes when they're not supposed to be hurricanes. You'll have
Tornadoes.
volcanoes, tornadoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I told everybody this years ago. And I told them, I said, and then not only that, the sun is going to get hotter. So y'all see what we having right now. So I mean, we ain't seen nothing yet. These hurricanes this is crazy. And then let me tell you, about 6 months ago, I was sitting in the parking lot in Kroger's waiting for my husband to come out the store. And I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden it hit me with my first eye, all these visions, back to back to back tornadoes. So I got on, I did a show. I said, look, we're getting ready to have back to back tornadoes. Y'all get ready. Get your survival kits ready. Sure enough, they kept having tornadoes hitting everywhere. Now, hurricanes are coming.
And then hidden places that don't normally have tornadoes.
But
That's the thing.
that's the thing, right?
Hmm.
And even hurricanes to places that I mean I'm not used to. Now another thing too, we ain't seen none yet, but we're about to see earthquakes. I said a couple of weeks ago, I said everybody, Georgia's next. We had two earthquakes last week, and they didn't even know. You see, so
Yes.
a lot of this is coming down. Now you got men that are manipulating some of it, but mother is not. She's not having it. She's not having it. You look how bad Texas is there. I told my husband, I said, Texas, he's from Texas. I said, you gonna see Texas is gonna get hit again. The next day they got a tornado. That's because Texas is drilling oil.
Because Texas is
Remember?
what?
Drilling oil. Remember, they have a lot of oil in Texas.
That's what my husband said. He said, baby, he said it's the fracking.
The frack,
He said it's
exactly.
all that fracking because they're doing that there, they're doing it up in the Northeast, they're having all that stuff going on there. And it's like, what you want?
Right.
You want
Right.
to disturb the earth and rape her, and
Right.
then you expect her to love you? I mean, how does that work?
It don't work. That's why she's coming to bring all the catastrophes. Watch, we gonna see.
I
Another thing too, we're gonna have war in this land too.
have what?
War.
Oh yeah, I felt that coming.
You felt that? Yeah, it's coming. So everybody better get their survival kits. They better get their stuff ready. Stock up on water. Stock up on canned goods. Stock up on all the stuff you can stock up because there's gonna be war in this land.
Well,
And
you
I
see,
felt it.
they got the draft now back,
Yeah, right.
18 to
Out of
26.
nowhere.
Yeah, all of a sudden. I
Right.
told somebody, I said, now this is what I said. I said, all this stuff about Diddy and all this other stuff, I said, that stuff is just out in the front to cover up what's going on behind the scenes.
Exactly.
I said, that's what
Exactly.
that is. I said, that's a distraction for y'all to look at, and y'all so busy looking at it and going into it and all this. I don't really care shit about that. I said, that's a distraction for y'all. I said, so you
Right.
don't pay attention to what's really happening behind the
What's really
scenes,
going on?
under
That's
the
right.
ground, the stuff that's coming up that they're trying to hide from you.
Yeah. Well, they'll see. A lot of things are gonna. A lot more stuff is gonna be exposed too. A
Yeah.
lot more stuff is like people. I'm gonna tell you like this. We deal with a lot of racism here in the South, but
I'm
it's
from the
different.
South. You know, I know.
Well, that's right. You're from Savannah, so you know that's
Hmm.
about to change. They're gonna
It's
start
got
being.
to.
They're gonna be your goddamn best friend because what's gonna happen? Just like when they had the Vietnam War and they could identify with being American, they're gonna start coming together and they're gonna start working together like they got goddamn sense. That's what's gonna happen.
Like we should do instead of all this foolishness.
Right, right. And you know it still goes on, and to me it's very heartbreaking because growing up in New York, we had all kind of races of friends. You know what I mean? We had all friends, white friends, black friends, Hispanic friends. I had Indian friends. I had Italian friends. We didn't have those problems. I never seen it too bad till I came to Georgia.
See that my kids were like that. My kids have rainbow. I mean, my son is getting ready to marry another type of girl, and my daughter, her boyfriend is Cuban or something like that. You know,
Okay,
and they
that's the way
always
it's supposed
had
to be.
rainbows of friends and stuff. I
Right?
mean, we would have little all kind of people, you know. So I
Yeah, we
never,
did too.
and I wanted them to be like that. I mean, I wanted them to be able to relate to all kinds of people, not
Right,
just because that's not realistic. Number one,
right,
two, we all here.
right.
So you know, in the mortal words of Rodney King, we should all just get a damn along anyway.
Anyway, exactly, exactly. Well, I'll tell you one thing: they're about to
Yeah.
change because they need our energy too.
Well, I'm
Yes,
gonna tell you, that's something that I have really been praying on for years because I felt it and I knew it needed to change and I knew it needed to shift. And even the thing that you and I talked about with, you know, our sisters coming together,
mm-hmm,
you know, and our sisters, you know, supporting one another as well.
mm-hmm,
And, you know, not all the things that sometimes happens with sisters,
mm-hmm.
you know, because I actually, you know, it's so funny because I reached out to another young lady, a sister, and about interviewing. And she sent me a message back telling me that she charges $200 to interview. I said, "Are you serious?" I said, "You coming on my show? I'm doing the work,
Right, you doing the work, right?
right? And I'm gonna pay you? No, honey." And I just laughed. I showed it to my husband. I said, "Baby, see, this is what I'm talking about." I said, "But you know the other ones, they jump on it.
Well, yeah, our
As soon as
sisters
you
got to
invite
get
them,
this. They got to.
they be phew, so glad, you
Mm-hmm.
know." But I really I'm so grateful that you know that we're in this shift.
Yeah, it's time, but you know our sisters got to get it together. I don't give a goddamn what they say and how they put it. I'm so sick of them. I don't know what to do. And they can
That's
say what they want to say. They can talk shit if they want to, because I'm gonna talk shit back. Because at the end of the day, enough is enough. We just had incidents at work with shit like that, and I have to say, what's going on with all the attitude? Sometimes sisters need to shut the hell up. You know, about to say shut the f up
yes,
and
yes,
just
yes,
be humble sometimes and
yeah.
learn that you got to get along and work together because we all have a common goal. We're all one big brain, right? But they made me so angry tonight. I ain't even gonna tell you no lie. I was so goddamn mad. I was talking shit. I told my daughter, I said, you better get them together. I said, because they don't want me to cuss them a new ass. I said, because at the end of the day, I said, this is business. And when you're dealing with business, you're supposed to come together and you're supposed to have a family orientated, work ethic about you in the same place because y'all all are there for a reason to get a check. Y'all, they're young, so they got younger kids. Mine's a grown. Y'all need to take care of your kids. So instead of
Right.
you gossiping, running your goddamn mouth, talking about this one, this stuff, I was like, you need to focus on your work, getting along with your fellow workers. Everybody's trying to make money to live. Y'all
Just
got
leave
kids, shut
people
the fuck up.
alone. Leave people
Right,
alone. I always
right,
tell people, I said, I'm making a t-shirt. Mind the business that pays you.
right, right.
Leave people the hell alone. And I do that. I had to tell my mama. I said, because she said, well, what about this? I said, Mama, is that your business?
Hmm.
It ain't your business. Leave it alone.
Right.
Because she said, well, you don't, I said, I don't care about it. I said, it ain't got nothing to do with me.
Hmm.
I said, I said, that's the way I feel. I said, I stay so far out of stuff till I laugh. I
Right.
said, people ask me, I said, that's why I live on the West Coast. And my family's mostly on the East Coast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm at peace out here. I mean, I don't do drama. We don't have no bunch of foolishness going on. We ain't got nobody, with this.
Right.
We're
Right. Right.
good.
Yeah. Well, but it's they're gonna have to learn. That is, I'm not gonna say a lot. I'm gonna say a handful of sisters need healing.
Oh,
And
yes.
very angry to a certain extent, and some people are right. Let's put I'm like, do you have to talk to people that way? Do you have to treat people that way? You know, and then you got the little ones that's disrespecting their elders. You don't disrespect your elder.
No.
It's no different back in Africa than it was here. You don't disrespect your elder. You don't cuss your elder out. I mean, little stuff like this, and this one talking about this one, and this one talking about what. I just can't. I said my daughter, I said, look here, finish your school so I can be gone. Because I said, me, I will run this whole store and they won't like me. They ain't gonna like me. I said, because at the end of the day, you're here to do a job. And they're lazy.
Yeah, very much.
Lazy.
They
No,
lazy and they don't have a work ethic.
exactly. And
And
I'm
I,
like,
I, I don't get that because I laugh because somebody actually gave me a compliment on one of my kids. And I think they were teenager kind of. And they were like, God, your kids, they have such a good work ethic. They come to work on time, they show up ready to work and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, wow, that's just really awesome. And I was like, okay. And then I thought to myself, aren't all people like that?
right,
And then
right.
I realized, no,
No, they're not.
they're
No, they're
not.
not. That's the
Hmm.
same way with my daughters. You respect people, you respect your elders, you respect
Exactly.
people and your
Hmm.
work. You respect them, they're gonna respect you. You go there to
Yes.
do a job, you're not there to gossip and talk, you're there to do your work. You be
Hmm.
cordial, you talk to them cordially. I'm very big on that. I don't like drama. So
Mm-mm.
when it comes to stuff like that, especially because I've owned several businesses and I had employees, I'm very rigid about certain things. I
Right.
like things that, and in the military background as well. So I'm very rigid about certain things. So you need to do this, you need to do that. We're not here to play games. We're here to work.
Right.
You work for your paycheck, you know. But anyway, it's another thing. I think some of our sisters need healing,
Yeah.
right?
And I'm calling them in, you
Well,
know, calling them in.
call them in, but let me tell you this too. We talk about our sisters because we know our sisters.
Hmm.
But I got white clients with just as many issues as our sisters.
Yes.
White women deal with the same thing.
But
Now,
they recognize they need help. I think that's
right,
where the thing is.
if is
The
okay.
sisters don't think they need help, but because they think they can go to the church and lay on their knees or whatever and take their bag of shit up to the altar and then get up and take
No,
the bag of shit with them,
it
but they
don't
don't
work
think
like
they
that.
need no help. And they not, they just not. But
They
the
got too
other
much
people,
ego.
yes, but the other people, they be like, oh no, I need some help.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
life
some
is
of them will.
crazy. I need some help, and they'll come, but our sisters, I don't know. And it to me, it was almost the same thing like therapy,
Right.
I went and got therapy because I knew I needed it after me and my ex split up. Because I said if I didn't get therapy, I was going to kill him.
Right.
So I went to talk to somebody. I found a wonderful young lady that was a counselor or whatever. She had her master's in whatever it is. And she was so good. And she helped me to move forward through that. I had probably 3, 4, 5 sessions. That was all I needed. But I
Right.
knew I needed help.
Oh, right.
I was like,
Right.
I got to find, and I also got help for my kids
Right. Yeah,
because
that's
I knew they
important.
needed help. Because I said, my kids were like teenagers when we split up, like 15 and 17. So
Hmm.
my boy was 15 and he was started acting out,
Okay.
because I told him, I said, if you don't get your stuff together, you going to the military school because you're going to graduate from high school and then you're going to either go to college or get a trade or do whatever you're going to do. I said,
Hmm.
because you can't live here forever.
Right.
I love
Right.
you, but I
Right.
don't do take care of grown people.
Right. Right.
So anyway, yeah, so I got them help, and I had told one of my friends and she was like, you did what? I said they needed to talk to somebody. They weren't talking to me. They wouldn't
They
talk to
have
me.
to because they don't realize that kids deal with the same emotional distresses. So
Oh,
whatever you're going through, your kids are going to go through because they're dealing with that same. Both of the parents go through it.
yes. So
So
I was
they
like, no,
do need therapy too. Yeah.
they did. I sent them. I was like, y'all need to talk to somebody, and I said, I don't, because you won't talk to me because I kept
Right.
trying to get them to open up and they just, close up. And I said, I made y'all appointments. You gonna go talk to
Yeah.
this girl, this woman. So it was really helpful, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Because a lot of, well, I think it's getting a little bit better nowadays
Yeah,
with
yeah.
some of the sisters. We keep pulling them, but they still got to humble themselves. It's like what I did notice tonight is two of the women had attitudes when we walked in
Hmm.
for no reason at all. What's your problem? Why you got an attitude? You don't want to be here. You don't want to
Because
work.
they can have one. Because
Heck,
they
yeah.
can.
And I said, all these snappiness and attitudes around. I said, there gotta be peace in here. They don't know I have the power to bring the peace in there if I really want to.
Yes,
I got many spiritual tools, but the point is, they gotta hear it. Nobody
absolutely.
checks them on it.
Right.
You got to make them think. Now, I do have a lot of white clients. I have a lot of white women that come to me,
Hmm.
and there's a few select that will say they need help.
Yep.
And then there's the ones who have the same problems. I have a few of them that are single mothers. They go through the same thing Black women go through,
Yeah.
and no different. And I do spiritual counseling. I usually do it for couples, okay? But I do offer spiritual counseling because I really want to heal people. I don't care what color you are.
Right.
And you got white people problems, you got Black people problems, but they all got the same time goddamn problems.
Well, what was that boy name? Kendrick Lamar.
Uh huh.
Yeah, we all got fucking problems.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny because I'm realizing now, working where we're working at, we're dealing with people every day. You got is majority white people that come in working hard. They tired too. And that's why I said you ain't got no goddamn business being racist. Your ass is going through the same thing we going through. Ain't no time to be racist. You got to get up and go to work. You struggling. They be playing just as much
Yep.
lotto, trying to win money, trying to be millionaires because they don't want to work no more. And I tell them, y'all
Exactly.
push all that racist shit out the door because at the end of the day, y'all got the same goddamn problems. No
I
difference.
mean, we all bleed red blood.
That's right. That's
I
right.
told somebody that I said I have taken care of every kind of person, every nationality. I had sat down and I thought about it, and I said I have taken care of every nationality, and I've never seen blood that wasn't fucking red.
That's right. That's right.
I was like,
And the other
not.
problem is
Somebody said, "You never saw blue blood?" I said, "No."
shit. No, ain't no such thing as blue blood. It's ancient times, Egyptian times, they have blue blood. No, I'm just kidding. But the problem is we got to stop identifying and using categories. See, that's the problem. You're
Yes.
a woman.
Yes.
You're not a Black woman. You're a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a white man. He's a man.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest problem we have. When we stop identifying and realizing that we're all the human race and we're just men and women, nothing else matters. Look outside of yourself. Look at the plants. Are the plants the same color? No. You got blue flowers, red flowers. We ain't supposed to be the same color.
Well, if you think about this, even like our kids.
Huh?
I said it's like our kids.
Right.
I think about it. I said, now my kids, they got the same mama and the same daddy,
Right.
but they different colors.
Yeah, my mother had two dark and two light kids.
That's how my grandmother was, because she saw my kids. She said, she laughed. She said, "You did just like I did." She said, "You got one child is lighter than both of y'all, and one child is darker than both of y'all."
Yeah, see?
And she said,
See?
"You did just like me." She said, and your husband said the same thing mine said, that one of them kids wasn't his. I
Why?
said,
Because they
yeah,
were darker or lighter.
yeah,
They,
that's stupid.
they don't
Mm-hmm.
understand we are the
Mm-hmm.
creators.
Darker.
We are the creators. So women can have, especially black women, based off of the mitochondrial DNA, we can have many colors of children. So
Okay,
when
speaking
you
of black women,
okay,
I got to ask you to expound on the black girl magic thing. What do you think about that?
you know, I feel like they're bougie.
Okay,
I feel like they only categorize certain type of girls.
I agree with that.
I have a problem with that because all of our girls are special
Yes,
and they need to know that. But they
yes.
only put it in a certain category. Well, she gotta be doing this, she gotta be doing that.
No,
No.
I felt like we all have black girl magic because we are um the mother of the universe.
Exactly.
And that's what I thought about it. I didn't I thought I seen all the other different things that they were talking about, but that was where I took it. Because I was like, we are the mother of the universe, and we are creators. We are the first creators.
What are some of the things they were talking about?
Just like you said, just different, putting it in different categories. And oh well, if you can do this, then then you have the black girl magic, or if you can do that. And I'm like, nah, I don't subscribe to that.
You want
you
to
know
know what's black girl magic?
yeah.
Every time I go back to New York, and this is a true story, every time my power gets heightened, every time my cousin would pick me up, he would say, every time you get in my truck, the electrical system messes up. What? So I go back to New York. I'm in a house. He got a microwave. The microwave wasn't working for like probably 2 months. So I got some pizza. I said, what's wrong with the mic? He said, that thing ain't working. It ain't worked for 2 months. I said, give me it. I took the plug and I held it in my hand. I plugged it in. He said, how the hell did you get the microwave to work? Number two story. Number three, cell phone. The cell phone wasn't working. Took it down. No, he was about to take it down to the shop. He couldn't get it to turn on. Everything he did, I watched him. I said, what's wrong with you? I don't know. It ain't coming up. I gotta go get it fixed. I said, give me the phone. I took the phone and I held the phone in my hand for about 5 minutes. The phone came on.
Mm,
That's black girl magic. And I'm not even bragging or boasting.
yeah.
I don't know if it's because of the electrical system under the streets in New York, because a lot of trains. But every time I go, my power gets heightened. But it goes a little bit more than that. I can go outside as soon as I talk, the trees start going crazy. When I say spirit of the wind rise up, ancestors, the wind begins to blow.
Mm.
That's black girl magic.
That is
Okay.
black girl magic. Yes, that is powerful. I love that. I love that.
Yes. And it's not and it's to me, it's not even about bragging or boasting. It's knowing who you are and how connected you are to the very thing that you're a part of. You can make the wind blow. That's one of the things when I do the initiations, I have everybody to see where their power lies. Make the wind blow, make the water move, make the fire move. That's black girl magic.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? So
it's
to
powerful.
me, you know, I feel like it's a little bit on the bougie side, and I feel like all of our young ladies have a gift in one type of way or the other.
Yes, I agree
You
with
know?
that.
Yeah, yeah, and we need to recognize that because that was one of the problems we had. My daughters was in school. One was an honor roll student from the time she was in kindergarten up until she graduated high school. She graduated with honors and got a academic scholarship to go to college. The other one didn't, but the other one was very good in math. So I would use her to help her sister with math, but I would never let the school, oh, well, because she got A's and she thought, I said, let me tell you something. I said, both of my daughters is intelligent. I said, we're not going to do the comparing shit. It ain't happening. I said, she has her gift in her academics in a certain way. She's more hands on. The other one, now she got more logical sense than the other one, right? But the other one's more book smart. But we ain't going to do none of that because they did that a lot. I didn't like that. I
They,
had
they
to,
they do that. Even my kids are a boy and a girl, and they were 19 months apart, so they were about 2 years apart in school. So he would follow her, and one year he had the same. He was in the same team that she had, so he had all the same teachers she had.
mhm,
And so the first thing I had to do was when I would go, to the school or whatever to do the opening day or whatever the thing for the parents or whatever, I would walk in and one of the teachers would say, "How well, hi." And first they look at my son real crazy because his name is Dylan,
mhm,
and they didn't know what to expect when he came in the door,
right, right,
right? And so they would say, "Do you have a sister?" And he would say, "Yeah."
right.
And I could tell. I would look at him real close,
Mhm,
I would look at
mhm,
them real close and see, I could almost see their brain thinking,
right, right,
do they have the same mama and daddy?
right. Because one was light, one was dark.
I said, wow, okay.
Right,
But it
right,
was something, and they would try to compare them. And I said, they're two different kids. I
right.
said,
You
now they're
can't
both
compare.
smart. My daughter was like your first, fucking genius and brilliant as hell. But my son, he's got his own smarts too. And so I was
Right,
like, he's a different type of kid. I said, he's a boy. I said,
right,
and she's an introvert and he's a super extrovert.
right.
So I was like, all right, and because they would call me and say stuff like, oh well, he's talking too much in school. And I was like, really?
Because he's an extrovert.
Yeah, I mean, what you want? That's what he's
Right,
gonna do.
right, right, right. Yeah,
But
see, yeah, all of our children, all of our babies are special. I
yeah,
think that they need to redefine that word black magic
yeah,
or what what do they call it?
black girl magic.
So magic. Redefine that
It's
word.
all right because I'm gonna redefine it. I'm gonna talk about it, and I'll put it in the right context. It's all good. All right, so we're gonna land this plane. What I want you to do is tell me if there's anything in the world that you could change. What would that be?
Humanity, the way that they think, the way that they do. I want peace on the earth. I want
Yes.
everybody to enjoy life, laugh more, no chaos, and not to definitely have no men running the goddamn world because they don't know what they're doing. I would want it to be more, love, peace, and harmony, and
Yeah,
enjoying life. Yeah,
that's powerful. That's a question I ask everybody, every guest, all of my guests, and I've gotten different answers every time, but all amazing because that right there is what we need. We need to just
be
do like
happy.
I was gonna say like Frankie Beverly May said,
Yeah,
we are one.
right.
We are one.
Be happy, enjoy life. There's nothing more than enjoying life, doing what you want to do, not working yourself, not stressing. Enjoying life.
Exactly. And yeah, and and I always say my goal always is to be the change I want to see.
That's right.
And it's like if I can just do that, I think that would go so far, in the world because Lord, we need help. Okay. All right. So just let the people know where they can connect with you or the best places to connect with you. And I'll also put those in the show notes as well. But just share with you the best places to connect with you. And if you have anything else going on that you're, looking for people or if you anything.
Well, I do have a Facebook page. You can find me under Nicky Love Wunam. It's flipped around. I do have an Instagram. You can find me under Nicky Love Wunam as well. Um, you can also Google me. And I do have a Twitter and the Nicky Love Wunam. If you just put Nicky Love, you'll find everything.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, y'all, but the AC is getting cold. It's triggering off my asthma, but you can actually Google me. And not only that, we are working on the next book coming out soon. The Secrets of Cape Verde, the Secrets of the Mirror Woman. I'm sorry, of the Mirror Woman. And then we're also working on a TV show called See What You're Cooking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And basically, while we're cooking, we're going to be reading people.
Oh, that. Oh, wow. That is going to be interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're probably gonna start filming within the next 2 weeks. So
That
look
is
out for
going to be
that.
so. That's going to be
Yes.
so interesting.
Yeah, yeah, because it's like, I love to cook. So I cook many different dishes, including my African dishes, and I cook Chinese food. So we'll be cooking and we'll be reading and probably cussing out some people too. You know what I mean? But
That
yeah,
I'm excited about that. Where are you going to have it on YouTube, or are you having it on a
we're
network,
gonna
or
put
what?
it on YouTube. We're gonna do it on YouTube.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's going to be so nice. I cannot wait. Oh my
yeah.
God.
So you
That's
definitely
going to
gotta
be
come
so
in and
cool.
send the people for their readings. Because what we usually do on Facebook, usually every few months we give back. So because a lot of people do spend money with us, we give back and we actually do free readings online. So we do
Yeah,
that every few months. We'll do love readings, pet readings. That's another thing. Pet readings, love readings, what's your spiritual animal readings, health readings. We do all those readings. So we give back to the community and we do it for free sometimes.
that's awesome. That is so powerful. Oh my God, I love that. Especially
Yeah.
the pet readings, because people talk about that, and I just think it's interesting to see.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? Let me tell you, when we go on YouTube and we do what is your spiritual animal, that is the most asked questions, even more than love readings.
Really?
Really. Everybody, who's
That's
my
hard to
spirit animal?
believe.
It's very hard, but there's a show. We did a couple of shows. Every time we would do what's your spiritual animal, we would get overloaded with questions. What's my spirit animal? And then, we'd talk about it. You should name your spirit animal. We would get the most readings with the those spirit animals. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then love was, of course, number two. And then health was the last thing people worried about. It was love, health, finances, and what's your spirit animal. And pet readings, we got a few of those, but that spirit animal, everybody wants to know. I'm like, you really, y'all really interested in like that? Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
now, does your spirit animal change, or can you have more than one?
You can have more than one. You can have
Okay.
more than one. Usually I recommend, and when they do, I tell them name your spirit animal. Start giving them offerings. So we take it a step further. A lot of times when I do readings, I just don't read. I advise while I'm reading
Yeah.
because you can't just read. Well, yes or no answer. Well, does he love me? And then I tell you, well, guess what? I see he loves you, but I see both of y'all need healing. I see that you and him need to get some healing because what I'm saying, that's how I do it. So I'm very big on advising. Why Mario calling me right now?
Because he was just calling me, and
Yeah,
I actually put him on so he could hear us talking.
really?
Yes.
He's so
You
silly.
you know I talk to him like at least a few nights out the week.
That's my baby. That's my baby. He got
You
my
know,
goddamn
I've
nerves.
never met him. I've never met him in person.
Really? I
No,
met
we've
him.
only always talked on the phone.
He went to school, the same school my daughter went to, same college.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
That's how he came about, and I kind of adopted him as a son. Because Mario child cuss his ass out in New York. Man. I get on him all the time, but I love him. Nobody better mess with him. But he's a good kid. He's a real good kid.
He is. I told him, I said, I said, because he said something to me. I said, Mario, I said, ain't you about to be 40?
He don't look like it, but he's up there. But Mario needs a lot of healing still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he needs a lot of healing.
'Cause he's dealing with that situation, and that's something.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah. But
yeah,
he also hard headed too, because I told him to leave that situation alone.
real hard headed.
Right. You know what I mean? So I told him, Mario, focus on this and focus on that.
I
But
told him that wasn't for him, and it didn't even he didn't even need to give it his energy.
yeah, yeah, he was
Mhm.
told that several times. But
Yeah, I know.
again, he's a good kid though.
I
Mario,
told him too one day. He said, "Well, I just want you." He said, can you give me a read?" I said, "No, because I already told you." I said, "We already had this discussion. I don't know, 18 times."
exactly. They just be wanting to hear something different.
That's what I told him. I said, what you can't just put a coin in somebody and expect to get a different result.
No, you can't. You have to listen to what somebody tells you. A lot of people do that. They'll call, ask you the same question over and over. Didn't I just tell you that? Now, energy can change, but your situation, it ain't changing. Listen to what you was guided to do. It is what it is.
That's a
People
struggle
gonna
for
be
me
people.
too. That's a struggle because it's like, to me, it's like talking to your kids more than two times.
Right,
Didn't I
right,
tell you? you
right,
know, and
right.
then they come back with the same foolishness, and you're like, I just told you. I told you even what to do. What is the
Yeah,
problem here? I used to tell my kids, I feel bad about it now, but I used to be like, are you retarded? Because I just told you this 3 times.
they know you didn't. They know you didn't mean that. Yeah, that's just like a, kind of like just saying something, a saying like you're retarded. I laugh at somebody, you're retarded, but not in a bad way. They know you didn't mean. Yeah, they
I'm like,
know.
okay, all right. But yeah. Okay, well, we're gonna land this plane because you got to get off here and I do too. But this was so amazing and I love
Yeah.
it. We're gonna probably have to do something else, especially when your next book come out again.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I really, I think that people they need to know,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, they need to know and it
What
needs
I
to get
want to what I want to do is, if I had some books, I would have sent you one. Usually, if I do interviews, I'll send the book to my interviewer because I like y'all to have it so you can ask questions with the book. So what I'll do is next time we can. I just ordered some more books, and then if you want to do another interview about the book, we can.
yeah,
Want to do
because I
that?
think
Okay.
that's necessary. I think it's gonna be something that's gonna help heal so many people.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of questions people have that I talk about in the book. But I also talk about the African traditions too. I touch a little bit on that. Setting up your ancestral shrines and stuff like that. But when I get one, I'll send you one when I get the order in, okay?
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so y'all, we appreciate our beautiful guest that has joined us today, and I'm so appreciative of her. I love her wisdom. I could sit in her energy all day.
Hmm.
I could sit in her energy all day. It's so amazing. But I just want to say thank you to you. I want to say thank you because you have truly blessed me. And even the conversation that we had last week, it was like, I mean, it set off a trajectory in me
Wow.
that I didn't know I needed.
Right.
And so I wanted to tell you how grateful I am. I think I did tell you that, but I wanted to make
Good.
sure that you knew that I am, my heart is so full because the things that you share with me really bless me, because I didn't realize even how much I was concerned or worried about one of the situations
Right.
until you said what you said. And I was like, oh my God. I even shared that with my mom. I was like, Mama, I got to tell you this. And she was like, I knew it. I knew it.
Wow.
Because I told you, she said she thinks she dreamed my her great grandchild.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, like a few years ago. She said she kept telling me, she said, I had a dream, I said, well, Mama, that's what she's saying. And she's like, I know that, but I had this dream and I saw this baby and I know that it's her baby. And I
Wow.
was like, okay, but the thing is my mom also dreamed her, my daughter,
Okay.
all those 35 years ago. And she was like, she kept waiting, people kept having babies and she kept waiting and looking to see, whose baby it was. And when my daughter came and I sent her a picture, because I was actually out here in Washington when I had her, and my
Okay.
mom was in Georgia. And so I sent her a picture, because this was 1989, so no cell phones. I sent her a picture and she called me, she was screaming. She said, this is the baby in my dream.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I have another message for you.
I'm
Spirit,
ready.
Spirit said that you have a book you got to come out with. They said to tell you that you have a story to tell that you have to tell. You need to come out with your book.
Uh,
So you
that's it.
working on it? You working on it?
Okay, let me go ahead and tell you. I did. I started what I thought was an article,
Mm-hmm.
but when I read it, I said, I think this is a book. And so this weekend I took it and I let my cousin read it. She also writes books, and she's I don't know what the hell. She's a doctor, in nursing. And so, but she writes books, children's books and stuff. And so I told her, I said, I want you to look at this and tell me what you think. I said, I felt like it was, I first was going to do it as an article because I've been publishing articles on Medium. And I think I was going to send this one to Zoe Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, but I think that I think it can be an article, but I think I got to expand on it into a book. And it was all about finding, like I talked about how I discovered my patterns, because
Mm-hmm.
the name of it, I think, is something like, what I learned from walking away.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is my book that I already wrote,
Okay.
and that's
Okay.
my this is my story about my crazy ex
So
and
you
all the
already
stuff.
did the book.
I did that one,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to write that one. Yeah, I had to do it because it's inspired so many people. Because my the short part of it is, and I'm gonna send you a copy. You send me your address, I'll send you a copy. But the short part of it is, he ended up being HIV positive about 12 years into our marriage.
Wow.
So my kids were like, I don't know, 10 and 12, 9
Mm-hmm.
and 11, something like that, I don't know. And he got sick. He had pneumonia, and I listened to his lungs, and I told him, because when I looked at him, he had lost a bunch of weight, and
Mm.
he wasn't a real big man. He's about 5'10", always around 200, a little bit less, but he wasn't a real big man. So when he lost weight, it was noticeable. And
Mm.
so I told him, I said, and I knew because the spirit already told me, because he was a cheetah, and spirit had already told me. I knew, and I told my mom, and she goes, "Don't say that. It could be this. It could be that." She's pulling all these things. It could be sarcoidosis. It could be that. It could be blah blah blah. My mom, she's been a nurse now 52 years, and so she's like, "Oh, don't say that." I said, "Mama, I'm telling you what it is. I already know." I said, "Not only do I know, he knows."
Mm-hmm.
So we went to the doctor, the hospital, and it was wild because the doctor that saw him, I used to work with at another hospital at the trauma center across town. And when I walked in, he recognized me, and he said, and I could see his face and I could see the concern. And so it was crazy because he was sitting on the gurney. The doctor was sitting in one corner. I was sitting in another corner. And so he was talking the way he was talking. And I think he was concerned because I didn't have any reaction. I mean, like nothing, nothing. He was talking and I was just listening, and I was just sitting there, and I said, okay. And the crazy part about it at that time was we had just decided that we were going to recommit to trying to fix this marriage. And, he wasn't going to cheat no more, how the same old shit
Mm-hmm.
always. And so, so the doctor said, well, he said he has pneumonia. He said, and my concern is that it's a different type of pneumonia.
Mm.
He looked at me and I looked at him and I said, okay. And then he said, and he knew I knew because I work with that population at the other hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said he has presumptive signs. And I said, okay. He said, yeah. He said he has thrush in his mouth.
Mm.
And I said, okay. And so, so anyway, he said, but I could do it. There's another test I could do. Because, back in those days, that was back in 2000. Back
Yeah.
in those days, you had to have permission
Right.
to get drawn. Now they can just draw it.
Mm-hmm.
in those days, they had to ask, And so I said, because I thought about this, I said, no, I don't want to, him to be in the system, that kind of stuff. I said a statistic, this and that. I said, well, we got an appointment with our doctor. I said, and they can draw it, because I know that if you go to private doctors, that's why they say that it's more of that in our community than it is in the
And
other community, because they go to private doctors and private doctors don't always report.
right. Yeah.
But when you go to public doctors, they have to report. And
Mm-hmm.
so that makes it askew, because it's a lie, it's bullshit. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, all right. So we started all that process and stuff, and I think my mom knew, my brother knew, because my brother came up to see us, because we lived in Columbia and they were
Mm-hmm.
in Georgia. So he came up and he went home and told my mama. I don't know
Told
what's
the
going
mom.
up there in Columbia.
Wow.
Said Derek is just not looking good, blah blah blah. And so my mama called me and she said, what is going on about up there? And I said, nothing. I said, what you talking about? I'm playing it off. What you talking about? She said, well, your brother came here and he said that he don't look good and blah 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 blah. And I said, well, I see, that's why he's sick. He been sick. you know and that was before we even went to the hospital or anything, because he like weeks he wouldn't go. And I think he
Mm-hmm.
was just scared, because he
He
knew.
was scared. Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't like to, like to cheat and didn't like to cover up. So, but I wrote that story and I shared how, we went through the thing and how we, where we went, and I still stayed with him another 6 years.
Wow.
He actually left me
Oh, really?
because I was praying. I said, I was praying for a year. I said, I don't know what you're gonna do, God, but I need you to do something, because I can't. I'm not gonna be able to stay with this. I can't deal with this no more. In the middle of all that, my grandmother passed away, and his mama passed away. And we never told her, but I think she knew, because he
Mm.
didn't want to tell anybody. He didn't tell nobody in his family. Matter of fact, I told him when we split up.
Mm.
I felt like somebody needed to know.
Need to know.
In case, which it turned out right. And then I didn't want them, looking at me crazy, because I didn't even tell my kids until they were older, till we split
Right.
up.
He's still living now?
As far as I know, I mean, I'm still paying life insurance on him, so hopefully
My
nobody.
father had my father had HIV. That's when my father died of.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and he did the same thing, cheated on his wife. By the grace of the ancestors, I'm gonna say she didn't get it.
same.
Yeah.
They
And
he told me I didn't get it, because he was intuitive too. My ex, he told me, he said you don't have to worry about it, you're fine. Because after, we went to the specialist, that was the first thing. They were like, okay, we want to test you, and I said okay, but I had been testing though anyway,
mhm.
because I had 4 units of blood with my youngest.
Okay.
Yeah, he 4 units of blood with him. And in 1991, the blood supply was not always tested, just like now, because
Mhm.
it's too much. They don't have enough people and all that stuff. And so
Right.
we had a friend that she had her baby at the same time. She gone. She got it
Good.
from the blood, because the baby didn't have it, the husband didn't have it, the other child didn't have it.
She got
Nobody
it
had
from
it.
that kid, blood.
She got it from the blood. And so when that happened, I started testing. So every year I would test.
Right.
So I tested every year for probably about 5 or 6, 7 years. And then my doctor told me, said, I think you'll be fine. I think you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. They try to give my daughter blood. I wouldn't let them do it. Uh,
Well, my hemoglobin was 2.
Hers was low.
So
Hers
I
was
was
like
like,
four.
because my mom was like, can you give her plasma? They were like, no, she need blood. It's like, no plasma. She's going to die. And I should almost did. I think about that now. I'm like,
My
I had to
daughter
be here
was
for a
like
reason.
4. And I told him no. I said, start her on iron right now. I said,
Yeah.
I would pump iron in her body right now. I said, she ain't getting nobody's blood.
And it
I
built it up.
I sure did. She came out of the house because she had a C-section. They didn't sew
Me
the C,
too.
and the blood. She came in the room, and that blood. When I tell you the blood was squirting out of her stomach, I was like, "Oh hell to the no! Let's go back to the hospital." So her hemoglobin was very low. It was like 4, and it was like, "Well, we're gonna give this one. So you ain't give her shit." I said, "Put her on iron infusion right now." So they did the iron and they brought it back up. But then she ended up staying in the hospital. She got an infection. I was like, They was about to give her blood pressure med, all kind of shit. I said, give me my child. Discharge her now. I called the administrator of the hospital. I said, they don't know what they're doing, but they ain't gonna kill my child. I said, let me take my
Exactly.
child.
Not today.
I brought her home after 9 days in the hospital. I healed her myself. I used yarrow herbs. As soon as that happened, I put yarrow herbs across her stomach, which stopped the bleeding immediately. I made them give her iron, and then I brought her home. And when I brought her home, I just started giving her nothing but greens the whole 2 weeks. Green vegetables, a lot of water, green vegetables. I just got her, on the greens the whole week. Whether it was cabbage, spinach, kale, all of that. I just did nothing but greens with her, and I healed her. I don't let them kill my child.
No,
But
because they would have.
I
You
know
know, they
they
don't care. They don't care about us, no way.
no spirit speaks to me, and I said, take my baby out of this house right now. I'll heal at home.
I'm telling you, because the doctor called my ex-husband and told him that he needed to come home and get his baby because his wife was dying.
See,
And my grandma was like, no. Girl, my grandma, I think about her now. She came and she sat with me. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. She sat with me for the whole first week. And I didn't know at the time she was fasting that whole time. And then, because I couldn't eat, they had me an NG tube in me. I couldn't eat for 2 weeks. And then they discharged my baby because, of course, he was fine.
right, the baby's right.
So my baby went home with my grandparents.
Mm,
And
mm,
girl, I think that until they left here, I think they knew that baby was theirs because they had him for 8 days, rocking him and spoiling his behind
while you're in the hospital, huh?
while I'm in the hospital. So it was amazing. I think about it. I said after that, girl, that boy wouldn't sleep. I would have to take him to my grandparents' house. I
They
was like, I
spoiled
don't know
him.
what to
They
do
got
with
him
him.
spoiled.
He was rocking. They rocking him both at one rocking and then put him down a little bit. And the other one pick him up and rock. I said, I can't do that. I already got another baby.
Wow. Yeah, because you had him 19 months. You said it was 19 months apart, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
They said it
My,
was too close. They told me that the my doctor told me, said, I know your mama had 4 kids and I know your grandmama had 10, but you wouldn't put here to birth babies like that. He said, and you had close.
mine too. I had him close. Mine's is a year and 6 months apart.
Oh, wow. He
Yeah,
did the same thing I did.
yeah.
All right, we're
And
gonna see line.
okay, and to wrap that up,
Hold
um,
on.
I was the same as you. I was the same as you. I had one for each hand. I was